In my years of observing people, I've come to realize something profound. Intelligence is not simply about what you know, it's about how you live, how you treat others, and how well you learn from your mistakes. But there's a twist. There are 6 unmistakable signs that indicate someone is lacking wisdom. Now, before you dismiss this or laugh it off, let me explain why these signs matter. Recognizing them isn't about judging others. It's about reflection, personal growth, and avoiding the same pitfalls in our own lives. It's also about helping those who may not even realize they're stuck in a cycle of foolishness. So, join me as we explore the 6 undeniable signs of a foolish person. Each one carries a lesson, a story, and a mirror for us to reflect upon, because the journey to wisdom starts with awareness. Ready to walk this path with me? Let's begin. 1. A closed mind. A closed mind is like a fortress of ignorance, built brick by brick with fear, pride, and stubbornness. People with closed minds reject new ideas and block their own paths to growth. They live within rigid boundaries where everything must conform to their own rules, and anything different is seen as a threat. Their confidence often masks insecurity, because true confidence comes from understanding that you can't know everything. Take Mark, for example. He was a department manager at a company I once worked for. Mark insisted that the old ways of working were the best, despite clear evidence that his team was falling behind competitors. When a younger employee suggested modern project management software to improve efficiency, Mark dismissed it immediately, saying, "We've done it this way for 10 years. As a result, while other teams advanced, Mark's team struggled. Instead of facing the issue, Mark blamed his staff, the market, and even luck. A closed mind doesn't just block new knowledge, it stifles the growth of everyone around it. Wise people, however, admit they don't know everything and are open to learning. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom isn't about always being right, but about adapting and improving. If you notice this tendency in yourself or others, remember, embracing innovation fosters growth and creates a more productive environment. 2. Constant blaming. Foolish people are masters of excuses. For them, nothing is ever their fault. A failed project? The market was too tough. A missed promotion? The boss was biased. But deep down, blaming is just a shield to avoid confronting the truth. However, that shield becomes a prison, holding them back from real growth. Take Lisa, for instance. She was an event organizer in charge of planning a major conference. When the event flopped due to poor attendance, Lisa immediately blamed the marketing team for not promoting it enough. But upon investigation, it was revealed that Lisa had failed to send event details on time, delaying the marketing campaign. Still, she refused to take responsibility. The result? Her colleagues lost trust in her, and Lisa eventually stepped down. Responsibility, while heavy, is the gateway to growth. Wise people admit their mistakes because they understand that truth brings opportunities to improve. Stoic philosophy teaches us that mastering life begins with mastering responsibility. If you find yourself blaming others, pause and ask, "Have I done everything I could?" Taking responsibility changes you, even when it's difficult. 3. Arrogance over humility. Have you ever met someone who constantly tries to prove they're the smartest person in the room? That's a sign of foolishness. Arrogance is not just a mask for insecurity, it's the biggest barrier to growth. Truly intelligent people know that learning is a lifelong process, and they listen more than they speak. Take Michael, a manager at a large corporation. In every meeting, Michael would dominate conversations, interrupt colleagues, and mock their ideas. When a project failed, Michael blamed his team for not understanding his brilliant ideas. But his arrogance blinded him to the fact that his refusal to listen had led to the failure. When asked to reflect, Michael couldn't provide any valid reasons for the failure. Humility, however, is not about thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. It's about prioritizing learning and collaboration over proving you're right. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom comes when we open ourselves to new perspectives and are willing to learn from our mistakes. If you find yourself caught in arrogance, pause and ask, "Am I seeking recognition, or do I want to grow?" True wisdom lies in collaboration, not in making others feel small. 4. Lack of empathy. A lack of empathy is one of the clearest signs of ignorance. It reflects an inability to understand or connect with others' feelings or experiences. Without empathy, people live in isolation and harm others without realizing it. This absence doesn't just affect relationships, it diminishes one's character. Let me tell you about Paul, a colleague I once worked with. Paul was quick to complain about project delays without considering the reasons behind them. When Susan, a co-worker, missed a deadline due to her son's illness, Paul publicly criticized her. He didn't care about her circumstances, only the results. A year later, when Paul had to care for his ailing mother, he realized how thoughtless his previous criticisms had been. Lack of empathy isolates people and blinds them to opportunities for growth through relationships. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true wisdom doesn't come from knowing everything, but from connecting deeply with others. Empathy is not a weakness, it's the bridge to wisdom and humanity. If you find yourself lacking empathy, start by listening without judgment. It's the first step toward developing genuine wisdom. 5. Fear of change. The comfort zone feels safe, but it's also a prison. Those who fear change cling to old habits, even when they no longer serve them. They are like children afraid of the dark, unwilling to step outside the familiar. Life, however, is a river, constantly flowing and changing. Wise people learn to adapt, while the foolish try to hold water in their hands, only to watch it slip through their fingers. Take Michael, a man who had spent his entire life in a small neighborhood. When his children encouraged him to move for better opportunities, Michael refused, saying, "I know everyone here." But as his neighborhood changed, Michael realized he had resisted change while the world moved forward. Eventually, he moved closer to his children and discovered a new environment full of opportunities. Fear of change keeps us stuck in the past, preventing us from exploring new possibilities. Stoic philosophy teaches us that change is inevitable, and only by embracing it can we live fully. If you find yourself avoiding change, ask, what's the worst that could happen? Change is a step toward growth, and resisting it only keeps you stagnant in fear. 6. Talking more than listening. Have you ever met someone who dominates every conversation and rarely listens to others? This is a clear sign of foolishness. People who talk more than they listen disregard other perspectives, creating tension and damaging relationships. Let me share a story about John, a father I once knew. Every evening, John would monopolize the dinner conversation, interrupting his children when they tried to share their day. When his wife suggested changes to improve the family's finances, John dismissed her ideas, believing his way was the only way. John didn't realize how much his behavior made his family feel unheard and unvalued. Listening is an active skill that requires genuine attention and respect for others. Stoic philosophy teaches that listening is the path to learning and growth. Talking without listening is like planting seeds in barren soil. Nothing grows. If you recognize yourself in John's behavior, it's time to change. The next time your loved ones share their thoughts, listen, really listen. It will improve your relationships and foster mutual respect. We've now walked through the 6 signs of foolishness, But before you wonder, am I foolish? Remember, we've all exhibited these traits at some point. Perhaps we've been arrogant, clung to comfort, or talked too much without listening. Recognizing these signs is not about criticism, it's about growth. Stoic philosophy teaches that wisdom comes from learning, admitting our mistakes, and being willing to evolve. Each foolish trait is an opportunity to become wiser. So, if you identify with any of these signs, take it as an invitation to change. Step out of your comfort zone, listen more, blame less, and embrace change. Wisdom is a journey, and it's not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to grow. Thank you for watching. Remember, wisdom is a journey, and together we can continue learning. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.